Good morning out there. It's a little mini coffee talk this morning, Saturday morning. Hopefully my lungs will hang in there for it. Coughing a little bit, feeling better. Hope your guys are doing well out there. I'm excited about a craft I'm going to get into this afternoon, and I will tell you about it more this morning probably in a minute. But I do want to address, he's trying to come for the scrunchie. One more topic. Since we've been on this topic about Lauren and what she's been going through, and I don't want him to get my scrunchie because I look like Ebenezer Scrooge. See, I can't make myself laugh. Nope, you're not going there. Nope, you're not going there. Nope, come on. Oh God, that scared me. My own window back there looked like a face. Oh God, look how he looks longingly. See the scrunchy worse. Here, you can have a bone. There you go. He's hanging back there. I got up this morning and the unicorn was in this corner right there. That's his favorite corner, and this is where my head is when I'm laying on the sofa. And he had shoved the unicorn into the corner. Cute. Anyway, I'm going to address this one topic on this, and then I'm going to jump off of it because it's dicey to address these things. I think it's important. I mean, I got up that morning that Lauren had gone live, and I had like a dozen emails from people saying, oh my God, you need to go see. She's basically telling your story, what you went through. You know, you go through the comment section on the post that I made about it, and it's like, you're the first person I thought of when I saw that. So, I mean, clearly people are linking these things. And I think it's important to provide resources to people. I know that I clung to stuff like this when I was in the thick of it. And from people that have been through it and had certain tips for me and like, how, you know, what the hell do I do? And so I woke up this morning with some thoughts on my mind about this that I hadn't addressed, and I'm going to, and then I'm not going to be talking about it. And if I have engagement with Lauren privately, I'm not going to share about that on here. But just so you know, I have reached out and I need to move on, partly because I don't want this channel to be consumed with these topics. And the other part is I'm always, number one, protecting my peace and my mental health. And as you can imagine, revisiting these topics is triggering for me. And I don't like that feeling. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. But it's walking a fine line because I do think that I have a voice in this and an important voice. And so I need to use it judiciously. So the topic that I want to talk about this morning, and then at the end of this, feel free to skip over this. There's also a resource I'm going to talk about that I got to thinking about this morning that's on this topic. That's a really interesting documentary that I'm going to rewatch today because it's so good. And I just got thinking about it again this morning, and I want to share about that. And at the end of it, in the end of this, I'm going to talk about a very fun activity I have planned for today. And so either stick around for that stuff or feel free to skip over this stuff. Fine with me. I'm going to try to get through this with as minimal coughing. I'm feeling much better today. But my husband has told me no house cleaning, no nothing like that. You got to keep resting. He's a gem of a person to be having in your corner, let me tell you. So the question is whether to pursue legal action in situations like this. When you're in the target of a smear campaign, when you're being cyber harassed, cyber stalked, cyber bullied. And of course that came up for me. I had a couple lawyers reach out to me, suggesting that I do and giving me ideas of what I needed to do. There were crimes involved. There laws that were broken. Definitely, civil action could be taken, kind of laying out, ideas. And then, I very early on chose to invest my time, energy, money, resources, everything into supporting myself getting through this and my mental health and not that route. But, you think it's going to blow over, but it really didn't and often doesn't because people are getting too much out of it. They're enjoying it too much. And so it starts to escalate and snowball like, oh, if we got away with this, how about that? And, they just keep digging and digging into your life. I mean, I shut down everything. My husband shut down everything. He was also being included in the stalking. And, we shut down social media, privated everything. I shut down my whole YouTube channel, really just out of being stalked and limiting access to, what they could get their grubby little paws on, and, you're just, you're just in a self-preservation mode. And so anyway, decisions are made. I don't know that I would have shut my whole channel down like I did now, but I was in a different frame of mind then, and I don't regret it. I did lose some content that I wish I had, and people have asked me if I still had this or that. I retained some of it, but oh well, that's life. You gotta let go of stuff sometimes. So that's just it. Anyway, whether to pursue legal action or not. So then we considered it, because it wasn't dying down; it was escalating. I was not exposing myself to it, but it was being brought to me either by the people in the gang stalking, club, or other people thinking I needed to know about this. And that was not helpful. And there was one person in particular that just kept bringing me stuff. And my husband was like, he would say, I would get up in the morning, look at your face, and know that you had heard from this person, because they couldn't stop bringing it to me as much as I kept saying, don't bring it to me. But I think you need to know this. And it was not helpful, because I was protecting my mental health, but they kept thinking that I needed to be aware, and to be aware of this and to be aware of that. And I really didn't. And so, it was rough. Anyway, so those are the ways that I got exposed to the toxicity of this. But myself, I stopped. I mean, the main person that initiated this, I never went to their channel once after. I went one time and whoa, and never went back once, not even once, to see what they were saying about me, even though they were apparently going on hours-long live streams, disparaging me, threatening to take away my homes. I mean, it's insane. I never once visited. I never once saw it. I mean, they were just dead to me from that moment forward. I did pop onto another channel just out of just sheer disbelief that they were going to the lengths that they were. And that was not helpful for me to do that. So I learned the hard way by putting my hand on the hot stove and getting burned. So I stopped doing that. I mean, it required a lot of discipline, because the boundaries that were most important were the ones I was setting on myself. It was easy to not go to Reddit, because I never really went to Reddit anyway. I go to Reddit for one thing, which is one thread that talks about what's the AMC screen unseen guesses, what the movie's going to be. That's it. Occasionally I might be looking up some topic like about a dahlia or my dog or something, and it leads to a Reddit thing. I try to avoid those though, because that entire website feels toxic to me. So I didn't go there. I went there to report. And unfortunately, the reporting system there is you have to go to comment by comment to report. So, I mean, I just held my nose and went over there and reported a few comments and exposed myself to a few of it. And few of those comments and that vitriol from the various pages that were created by the person that initiated the stalking of me in the first place. Interestingly, I believe she started the Reddit pages before. So, I mean, it was very choreographed. It was very well organized and planned out. There was already a receptacle for people to land in to gather, to be part of the gang stalking, So, I mean, she knows what she's doing. Like I said, and I hope Lauren gets this message, is you have to realize that these people are much better at this behavior than you are at defending yourself against it. If you've never been on the receiving end of it, if you've never been targeted in this way, this is not their first rodeo. They've been honing these skills in their life, and probably in a variety of ways. So by the time they've landed on you, they're good at it. And you're not good at defending yourself. So be led by people who are good at it. Be led by people that are experts at this. And so that's what I did. I'm a person who knows how to find good people to handle the important things in my life and trust them and follow their wisdom. That's one of the keys to life there, right there. Whether it's your money, your financial guidance, whatever it is, your house, reconstruction, if you're having, a remodel done, whatever. Find the best person that you can find, trust them, and let them guide you. Don't do their job. Let them do their job and trust that they know better than you. So that's why you're hiring them, right? So that's the tack I took with this. A lot of things are counterintuitive, so you need to listen to this like, this may not make sense to you, but this is the best thing to do to protect your mental health. So that's what I did. But then, when it started escalating, then you start thinking, do I need to? And these lawyers reached out to me like, maybe you need to pursue legal action. So then we're having that conversation. And to me, it's like, to what end? I'm going to go after someone who has nothing financially. So what, I would get a judgment against this person, never to get anything out of it. But the main reason is, nor do I need or want their money, but the main reason is this. In order to do that, I would have to expose myself to all of it. So either I myself would have to wade through all of this stuff to gather all of this data to provide to prove my case, or I would have to hire someone to do that for me. But eventually I would have to plead my case of being damaged by this, right? So I would have to prove that I've been damaged. Therefore, I would have to damage myself in order to prove that I've been damaged to make a case against this person or these people. When I realized that the course of action that I've been taking that I need to stay on is to be a person who's not damaged by this. That's where I need to put my energy, into being that person, not someone who is damaged that's going for damages. See what I mean? I'm in a very different place than someone like Lauren, because this was not my livelihood. I didn't have like a big following like she has. I was covering one case, and it was just a sheer act of I don't know, just a pull to be there for this family. That was it. And to, do what I could do to offer support from having walked this path myself of being a homicide survivor. Same in this is why I'm making this video, is like providing some support and hopefully some guidance, having walked this path myself of being targeted in the ways that I've been targeted. It really helps me that you guys see that, how similar my situation is with Lauren's, because when you choose to go silent about it, when you choose to not disengage, it can be a lonely place to be, because you're not talking about it to many people, and the people that are close to you, like my husband, they get very tired of it and frustrated. Mainly a man like my husband's going to get frustrated because he can't do anything about it, and he wants to do something about things. So it's like, and there's nothing you can do about it but just take it. And so, over time, unless they were approaching me, which they did aggressively for the first few months, and then I had to cut access off to me and block and all that kind of stuff. It would be that I would be going out to seek it in some way, Google my name. I haven't done that in months. So the main boundaries were on myself to not go there. So I couldn't have it both ways, where I have these boundaries on myself to not expose myself to this material and then have to go dig it all up to prove some sort of damages for defamation. Or even to like make a case to present to the FBI or local law enforcement or anything like that. It just, it's just a lot easier for me to pursue becoming a person who's not damaged. And I'm doing very well out of it. You can see the toll that it's taken on Lauren's mental health. Again, there have been people who have chosen to end their lives over, it is enormous when these avalanches are coming down on you. Look at this. Just look at how he's looking at me. The tongue's gonna come any minute. Beasley Le Pew. So yeah, that's an option that you can take, is to pursue becoming a person who's not damaged. I remember as a therapist when I would work with people that were, and I'm just thinking of this just now, who were in legal battles with, like, let's say they were in a car accident and they were coming to me for pain. And, they were, I was getting paid for their therapy from their car insurance. It was really tricky because here they are coming to me to get better, and at the same time having to prove how damaged they are for their case. So there was like this dual motivation going on where in some cases it prohibited them from getting better because they didn't want to be that much better to inhibit their settlement. See what I mean? And that's just natural to try to be pursuing both of those at the same time. And so it's tricky, and I just chose to disengage from all of that and become a person who's not damaged by it, which I feel like I am at this point. And hopefully my voice being injected into this conversation is being helpful to people that are also trying to navigate it. Now I'm going to tell you about a resource that was really interesting and unexpected and how it helped me along these lines. And by the way, you can also be pursuing the legal end of it and still be pursuing a person who is undamaged. It's tricky, but you could delegate that to somebody else who's objective, who's, there's people that love to do that kind of thing. dig for data and that sort of thing for you. But I think eventually you have to prove your case, right? So you have to be exposed to it and you have to become damaged to receive damages, in any kind of civil case. So just think about that. So anyway, there's a documentary out there. I'm going to rewatch it today. Probably while I'm crafting. It's called like The Real Wagatha Story or something like that. I think I've talked about it on here before, but I just remembered it again this morning. And if you don't want to, there's spoilers. Spoiler alert right now, because I'm going to give spoilers in here. But I need to kind of tell this story so you can see why it makes sense. But skip over it if you, stop watching here if you don't want the spoilers on it. So it's a documentary. I think I watched it on Hulu, but this morning I looked it up and it said Disney Plus. And it's about this woman who is married to a famous soccer player in Great Britain. And her name is Connie something, I think. And she's very well known over there. And they call them WAGs, which is wives and girlfriends of famous athletes. And so she's got a very public presence, and she's sort of a wholesome looking, attractive woman, mother, kids, young kids, and married to this guy for a long time. This famous soccer player. I don't remember their names. But she has a very forward-facing public social media presence, but she also has a private Instagram account where she has just maybe a couple, 300 people that, she can put her pictures of her kids and whatever, her private life on there. It's curated to just her friends and family. Well, she notices that stories are popping up in the tabloids. I think The Sun is the one that are coming out of her private Instagram. At first she's like, how is my private life getting out there like that? And then realizes every one of these stories are stuff that's coming out of her private Instagram. So the reason they call it Wagatha is that she becomes like a little Agatha Christie. She spends like a year at least doing this, her own private work, sussing out this, that's my chimes out there. That's what I'm hearing. Sussing out who the mole is in her Instagram account. So it's really interesting how she does that, and she does it all on her own. And she figures out how to manipulate the Instagram system in order to figure out definitively who's the mole that's leaking these stories to the tabloids. And as it turns out, it's one of her friends who's also the wife of a famous soccer player. But it gets broader than that. So once she figures it out, of course she's utterly betrayed by this because this person is nice to her front and stabbing her in the back. And she decides to out it. I think publicly on her main Instagram account, like she has found out who this is, and she outs this woman by name. Probably didn't put enough thought into that, how to do that, because guess what happens? That woman has a serious backlash of her own from being outed like this. So what does she do? She turns around and sues this woman for defamation. So now this woman who has already been wronged by this so-called friend, former friend, whatever, is being sued. So she's double downing on this for defamation. So now she's having to defend herself in a court of law. And the way she has to do it is that she has to prove that the things that she said about this woman, which is that she was the person selling her stories to the tabloids, is true. So the burden is on her to prove it. So now she has to dive deeper into this to prove her case in order to not be on top of betrayed and all of this by her former friend, but to have all these legal bills of her own, of the other woman, and whatever judgment would come on her for defamation. So now she's embroiled in this huge legal battle with this woman who had flipped the whole script where she's the victim of this. And now, so, you just have to watch it, how it unfolds. And she does, and it's dicey because you think she's not going to win. You think she's just going to get doubly screwed in this whole thing. And she's a very likable woman, relatable, I found her to be. So in the end, it turns out that it is this woman, and there's definitive proof because there's other things that get uncovered. There are text messages, and redacted parts of those get unredacted, and she can see that this woman, it's very clear, has been conspiring with her publicist to do this. So they had a PR plan, where their PR plan for this woman to get coverage by these tabloids herself was to sell stories on her friend. So that's what she was doing. And, the friend was wondering, why is she getting these covers on, I think, The Sun, whatever. I don't know if it's the same as National Enquirer or whatever. But why is she getting all these covers on this magazine? Well, she was getting these covers, and she wasn't as famous herself. She's getting them because she's selling these stories. She's trading these stories on her friend. So, their whole PR plan is you want to get another cover? Okay, well, see what you can get over there on what's her name. And they're sort of gleefully talking about screwing her over. It's disturbing, what they're doing to mess with this woman. But, she's being nice to her face. Very disturbing. So ultimately, she wins this lawsuit. She wins this defamation. It's decided in her favor because there's irrefutable evidence. But she has to go through holy hell, and it takes, I don't know, maybe it takes another year and hundreds of thousands of pounds and, meaning dollars, money, and her time away from her young children, I'm sure a toll on her marriage, all of that. And so then the other woman who lost, she has to pay her legal fees now and her own legal fees, but she gets all kinds of recognition for being the villain in this. And so she gets actually more famous out of this. So even though she loses financially and she loses the case, she gets a lot of negative publicity, which serves her. And sometimes these personality types, they'll take whatever publicity they can get. They'll take whatever attention they can get. They don't mind being the villain. And because it's giving them attention. This person that started this smear campaign on me has parlayed this into financial gain. I guess at one point was claiming that I said I was going to sue her. Never said that because I never pursued that. If I was going to sue her, she would be served. I wouldn't be talking about it on social media. She would just be served. And I never talked about it on social media or whatever, but she got people donating to her legal fund, apparently, to fight me off from something that was never even on my radar. So, people will parlay this kind of thing, even being a villain, into attention, into whatever they want to get out of it, you know? And so the woman, this Connie woman that, like, the Wagatha, at the end of it is sort of wistful, because even though she won that lawsuit, you can tell that she's left with this, like, that was so not worth it. Like what she went through, and all because she figured out who was doing it and she said it out loud. And it was the truth. You know, it was definitely the truth who did it. But I'm sure there were people that were sort of cheering that woman on, like, you go girl for going after her, you know, you go girl for that. That there are people that would support her for doing that, you know. I mean, I know that for sure. So this is why entering the legal arena should take a lot of thought and has to be really worth it to you, and has to really have a big positive on the other end of it as the motivation to even consider doing that. I don't have answers for what this is. I think people that are involved in these kind of schemes and campaigns, there just need to be more consequences, and I don't know how that's going to come about. But I guess shining a light on these things is helpful. So, and hopefully, and like anything in life, adversity can strengthen you and build more resilience, and you can use it to your benefit in that regard, and become just a stronger person and more able to handle things in life. But it does crush some people. I mean, let's be real about it. It does crush people. And, you know, people need to be protected too. So hopefully my voice in this has been helpful to anybody out there who might need it. I'm going to go back to my regular scheduled programming now. Like I said, if I have any private conversation with Lauren or anybody else about this, I'm going to keep that private, and keep this channel as much as I can focused on the things that bring me alive in life. And hopefully you're inspired by that too, because that's what I love going to social media for, or people's creativity, things that they're into, the things that they're learning, the things that they're sharing, that are bringing them alive. Anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. David White. Sometimes it takes darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn. Anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. David White, from the poem Sweet Darkness. So I'm going to tell you now what I'm going to do today. My creative project today. Someone sort of true crime world adjacent is someone who I know, who I've met, who has a massive investment in Christmas decor. And I also have an interest in Christmas decor in my little craft projects. Well, I found out what their theme is this year. And so I am working on a project where I am making something. I am so excited about her theme, because it's right up my alley. And so I'm going to go up today. I'm finally feeling well enough to go up into my studio and pull my stuff out. And I am going to make her something, a small thing to add to her Christmas theme this year, for her decor, and send it randomly. Like, she has no idea this is coming, but I was able to sneaky sideways get her theme. And so I love working off a theme, and I'm really, really excited about this. And so I'm also going to make her a pumpkin. You know, I'm having on the same theme. And so, you know, I'm making my little mini pumpkins. So I'm going to also send her a pumpkin, so she can start her theme early for Thanksgiving and then roll it into Christmas. But I'm really excited. So I'm going to work on that today, and I'll share photos of it because she doesn't come to this channel or anything like that. So I don't think she does. So yeah, That's my very exciting, and I'm going to put that real Wagatha story on while I'm working on my tree. I'm going to make a tree and a pumpkin, and I'm going to work on that today, and hopefully I have enough supplies. I might have to get one more thing to make it complete, but I'm really excited about it. So I would suggest that if you're going through something difficult and looking for a way to soothe yourself or distract yourself or refocus yourself or whatever, find any kind of a creative project, anything. And that could even mean watching someone do a creative project. I watch so many videos, you guys, on flower arranging and cake decorating. Cake decorating, I don't even do cake decorating, but it crosses my feed because I've watched so many videos on it, and I just absolutely love it. There's a trend that I want to learn so bad, but I like to learn from people hands-on, so if I can find a class, I will travel to take it. But the one woman that I'm like obsessed with her stuff is in like Hong Kong or something. So I'm not going to travel that far to take a class, but it's this form of cake decorating where you use a palette knife. So it's like oil painting with a palette knife, which was when I was taking oil painting, I'd never used a brush. It was all with a palette knife. And that's another hobby that I'm going to resurrect here because I have a humongous canvas that I'm going to paint over that was from a painting class I did many years ago, and I really hate that painting that I did. So I'm going to paint over it, but use this huge canvas to do another painting on it. I have the idea of what I want to do. So, but it's all with a palette knife. I just love that. I love that style. And this cake decorating is you use a palette knife and you mix your buttercreams into these beautiful like blended colors, and you can make like three-dimensional flowers and stuff. So somebody does classes that I want to do so bad, and I wish somebody in my area would do this, where like you go to a class, it's like one of those like paint with wine classes or whatever, you know, but it's on a cake. So everybody has like a square of a big sheet cake in front of you with a palette with, you know, all your buttercreams in the colors that you're going to use, and a palette knife, and they teach you how to do this, and then you eat your cake at the end of it. So I would probably take mine home because I'd want to show it off to my husband. But I would absolutely love to take a class like that. If anybody hears of one, like I would travel to take a class like that because I look at those videos and I'm like, I want to do that so bad. I want to learn that so bad, but I don't want to teach myself. I've thought about doing it with Lillian and maybe we will sometime and just try to do it ourselves, trying to teach ourselves. But I really do enjoy learning from people that are experts at something and hands-on learning from that. It's one of my things in life that I really, really enjoy, and putting myself in that's a key to life right there. Find people that are excellent at something, that are experts at something, whether that's managing money, contractors for a house remodel, painting your home, flower arranging, you know, whatever it is landscaping, that you aren't good at yourself. Find people that are excellent at that, hire them to do that for you or to teach you how to do that, and then get out of their damn way so they can do that. You know, don't try to micromanage them for the job that you hired them for that you don't know anything about, which is why you hired them. You know, it happens in a lot of cases where people hire somebody for their expertise but then limit their expertise because they try to micromanage them. And I learned that so long ago. So hire the best people, trust them, and then get out of their way and let them work their magic in your life, and then relax. And if you don't trust them at that level, you have the wrong person. Okay, that's my little word of wisdom for the day as well. Hope this video has helped somebody out there. Wanted to leave it on a light and fun note. And yeah, we'll go back to regularly scheduled programming. Thanks for, you know, commenting and supporting and everything like that over the last few days. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better to even go up. I haven't even walked upstairs since I've been sick. Like I told John that, I'm just feel too sick to even go up the stairs, you know? So I don't today, and I will go upstairs and watch that Wagatha show and work on my craft project. So I hope you're doing something fun for yourself this weekend and enjoying the beautiful fall weather And thanks for being there. Talk to you later. Bye for now.